Hey there everyone and welcome back to another video. And I don't know what it is today, but I'm really in the mood to make some videos because this is the third one I'm doing today. Obviously you're not all seeing them on the same day, but like I'm shooting them all on the same day. So I'm well prepared though. I got another drink. I'm ready to go in case my voice starts giving out. But we've got a different video here today, not a review. I'm going to take a drink. Um, this one is going to be my Japanese PlayStation 2 collection, which is sort of a video response to Playongo and I guess Or3con. Both of them did these videos, and I thought, like, man, I'm gonna have to do one now. So, jokes on you guys though, because like my almost my entire PS2 collection is a Japanese PS2 collection. I have almost no North American games. Actually, if you look behind me on the shelves where the PS2 games were, that's my entire US PS2 collection. It's 5 games. It's 2 Kessen games, um, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, The Bouncer, and Devil's Summoner 2. That's it. That's my entire US PlayStation 2 collection at the moment. But the rest of my games are actually a Japanese PS2 collection. I'm going to get into these because I don't know how much space is on my phone since I made so many videos, but if this gets cut off, I'll have to splice in more or make a second part. Hopefully I'll get it done in one shot though. I'm going to try and go relatively quick. But there's a lot, so, you know. But we'll start off here. Let's see. First, we've got Maximo. Maximo in the kind of Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins series. Maximo, it's a 3D kind of action platforming kind of thing. It's not really my thing, but I don't mind this game. I think like it's challenging not because it's like hard to control like I feel a lot of 3D platformers are. It's challenging because like they are trying to make it like a 3D equivalent to Ghouls and Ghosts. And I remember when this game came out actually, I was really hyped for it. I don't know why. I was like the only person I knew that was hyped for this game, but I'm just a really big fan of the series, of the Ghouls and Ghosts series. So I was just like, I gotta buy that game. So, I have a fond memories of playing Maximo, even though like the first one is not as good as, for example, this one. The second game, the second Maximo game, I don't remember what the English titles for these are. Um, the this one, the Japanese title is like the machine monster's ambition or something. Um, but I don't remember what the English name is. But this is Maximo 2. Same fits into that same description I just gave for Maximo 1 though. Next we've got Shinobi. Shinobi was pretty cool. It's got the kind of cool, stylish action going on with it. You've got the long scarf; it flows behind you. It's just really hard. This game is a really difficult game, but it's fun. I haven't put a ton of time into it though, so like I've never beat Shinobi, but I don't feel like it's impossible. I've only played it for like a couple of hours, and then I thought like, well, I got other stuff to do, and I haven't ever gone back, which is kind of sad. I should probably go back to Shinobi, but like, it's the kind of thing where like I played it and I thought like, oh, okay, that's Shinobi. I don't really need to play it, and I haven't. Maybe I'll go back though. It's not bad. It's not a bad game. Next we've got Ka. Ka is Mr. Mosquito in English. Um, I'm terrible at this game. I think it's like a kind of a cool idea, but of course the mosquito is like goofy as all hell looking. And like if you look at the cover, like the mosquito is like this is like a picture of a mosquito on somebody's foot. That's basically what it is. But like when you play the game, like the mosquito in the game is like this bright, colorful cartoon, and basically you're flying around um, you know, stinging people, sucking their blood, and hoping you're not dead. But the the thing with it is that man, I'm suck at any type of games that have kind of helicopterish controllers, and this does. So like, I just can't get anywhere in it. I'm just so bad at the flying controls. Like I can't get my head around how the camera and the flying works. It just doesn't work for me. And I've seen people play it and be fine with it. I'm just not. it's like not a control scheme I'm good with. Next, we've got the Zombie Tai Kyukyusha. This is zombies versus ambulance, and this is probably my favorite simple series game. I put a lot of time into this game, 40 or 50 hours, I think, maybe total. I have that's between two saves because like I had one save that was about 30 hours to beat it, and then you had, and like I don't know why it took 30 hours to beat it, but because like the bosses repeat, so I don't know, but like you get a lot of time just driving around, killing stuff, fighting bosses, finding more people. It's a lot of fun. It's for how cheap it is and how like poor it looks and everything. It ends up being like such a fun game that you're just like, well, who cares? It's such a good game, and I wish they'd make another one of these. I'd buy it. Next we've got Phantom Kingdom, and Phantom Kingdom is a strategy RPG by Nippon Ichi. That's what it was. I kept thinking Falcom, and I know it wasn't that. But Nippon Ichi is a kind of Disgaea type of strategy RPG spin-off kind of series. This is good. It's also on the PSP, and I would recommend the PSP version just because like it's long, it's easier to handle on a PSP, but like, PS2 version, whatever. But it's a good game. I enjoy almost all of Nippon Ichi's strategy games. They all tend to be good. Next we've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is Phantom Blood, which is the first part with Jonathan Joestar? Jonathan Joestar? That's, yeah, the second guy. I always get the first two in the JoJo's series mixed up because like their names are similar. But the first one is Jonathan, and then his son is Joseph. And then like you've got like later on it gets the names get way different, so it's easy to remember. But like when you've got like Jotaro Kujo, it's totally different than Jonathan and Joseph Joestar. But this one is the first thing. The Phantom Blood is. This is a pretty interesting game. It's a fun kind of action adventure. I want to say adventure because there's a lot of talking that goes on. It's basically the story from the manga. It's not. It doesn't vary from it very much, but it's put together really well. And I don't know. I think it's a pretty good game. There's a sequel also. It's not a direct sequel because this is like part 5. It's the what do they call it in English? I don't know. It's the golden something. I don't remember. Golden Run, maybe they call it. I don't know because that's whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what it is. You've got a different character. What is his name? Giovanni. I don't remember. Can't remember his name. I can't remember his last name. They're all something Joe something. So Giovanni. It's not written on the box either. Yeah, it's not. Oh well, but this one is different. It's more of a fighting game, and it's made by Capcom. Strangely enough, but it looks pretty similar to the previous one. I don't know why Capcom did this one and not Bandai, who does all of the other ones. But whatever. I mean, this is a fun game too, and it's got a lot of character variety. It's got more character variety than the other one and more stuff to play with. But it's not that bad. Let's see. Next, we've got Neo Atlas 3. Neo Atlas, this series, there's a new one coming out on the Vita this month. Pretty hyped, but like Neo Atlas is essentially like a Age of Discovery map making simulator. You kind of like travel around on the map, and from the rumors and things you hear, you can find new civilizations, and sometimes you'll find like monsters in the ocean. It's like if you look at those old school kind of maps where they draw the monsters and things in the ocean, or like there's like tales of weird civilizations with like people who have only like their bottom half of their body is like one giant foot or whatever. You can find stuff like that in this game. It's a pretty cool game. It's fun. It's a simulation, but it's also like got a lot of wackiness that happens, and good stuff. Neo Atlas. The part 3 actually is not. I wouldn't recommend starting from part 3. I'd recommend starting from part 2 because it's better. But maybe if you were just like, I really need that, Age of Discovery map making simulator, you just wait for the Vita version. Let's see. What do we got here? We've got the Sega Ages, Fist of the North Star. This is I can't remember what game this is a remake of. But there is kind of maybe it's a remake of one of the Super Nintendo games. I'm trying to remember because it's like a fighting. This is not like how Last Battle is. It's not like an action game. It's like a fighting game, but you can also play like the original Fist of the North Star, kind of maybe the Master System one. Yeah, I mean it was cheap and I liked it. It's not that in depth of a game. It's kind of like a bare bones kind of affair, but you got the Mark III version, or yeah, it is the Mark III version on the PlayStation 2, so that's okay. Let's see. Next we've got Cho Aniki, and this is Seinar Protein no Densetsu. Whatever. It's like the legend of the holy protein or whatever. I don't remember. I don't know what that's my personal translation. I don't know what people actually use, but it's a Cho Aniki game. It's got wacky enemies and weird shit happening. This series is not at all serious, and it's funny though, and it's not even that good of a shooter. It's kind of a mediocre shooter, but like it's worth it for the weirdness of it. If you just like weird shit, Cho Aniki is the way to go. Let's see. We've got this is the Kamen Rider. This Kamen Rider game actually is it's Seigi no Keifu, I think I believe is the name. But this is it's kind of like a it plays kind of like a Resident Evil, but with Kamen Riders and like, a bit more actiony. Obviously, it's not like survival Kamen Rider. That would be weird. But it kind of is like like a Resident Evil, but a little bit more kick and punchy. But it's got like a bunch of different riders. It's got, I mean, you can see on the cover, it's got probably that's Agito on the cover. I'm guessing. It might be. It might not be. Oh, wait. I can't tell because like what's his face? Fuck. Kuga and Agito look really similar. So this is like a different form. So like when they change forms, I'm just fuck. I don't know. I guess I can look on the back, but it doesn't really say. But whatever. It's got black on the Kamen Rider Black also on the back, and then like V3 but like it's got a bunch of different riders, not just like the modern riders at the time. So it's pretty cool. This is actually one of the best Kamen Rider games. It's not that great really, but like it's a fun game, and it's different from all the other ones, which tend to be these kind of like weird action fighting games. But that one's a pretty good one. Look it up on YouTube. There's video if you want to see what it's like, because it's not like any of the other. It's not like the Climax Heroes games, which we'll get to later. This is Tokyo Bus Annai, which is like a bus driving simulator. This is like more of a simulate. It's less of like a business simulation the kind of simulation that I like, and more of like one of those kind of job simulations that is like a real you're driving the bus kind of thing. It's not exactly the kind of simulation I like, but it's an alright game, and I think like it's the kind of thing that's unique. Like when are you gonna like be playing a game where you're driving a bus. But you know, it's kind of like it was cheap, and I thought like I think I could get like the dollar or whatever I paid out of the game, and I think I did. I got enough enjoyment out of that game to you know, feel like I enjoyed it. Next we've got SD Gundam Generation Neo. This is a strategy game with Gundams. I like these games. I like this series. I haven't played all of them. Obviously, there's a million of these, but like every once in a while, I get the urge to play this game. Not this game specifically, but this series. And I don't even like Gundam. I don't like giant robots. I just like the way it plays. And I moved from this to Super Robot Tyson, even though like they play slightly differently. At least they're. I don't know actually if they do anymore. They probably streamline that shit where they're just like, whatever, we're just gonna make an all Gundam version of the same game. But previously, this used to be on hexes, and it's not. I don't think it is in this one anymore. But I think it's in squares. But like on the Sega Saturn version, it's a hex based strategy game. I prefer. I really like hex based, but they don't. A lot of companies make those anymore. I don't know why. Maybe they're just not as popular as your kind of like grid-based strategy RPGs. Let's see. Next we've got. Oh wait. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. This is Spectral Force Radical Elements, and Spectral. If you've ever played a Spectral Force series, this is made by Idea Factory, I believe. Yeah. Spectral Force tends to suck. It's not that good of a series. It's like really feels like a kind of poorly made strategy RPG. Like it's one of the worst series of strategy RPGs I've ever played. Except for this one. I don't know what it is about this one, but like the way it plays is a lot different than the other Spectral Force games that I played. Like it has like these giant waves of when you fight troops, like these giant waves of enemies come out and like bash into each other in the middle of the screen. I'm actually not doing it justice. It still looks cheap and everything because it's made by Idea Factory, but like and the character designs are terrible. But it all has like a cheap veneer to it, and that's kind of Idea Factory. That's you guys know what you're getting into if you get an Idea Factory game. And I know like Playongo is like gritting his teeth right now. He's like, grrr. That's like it's his jam, I think. But Idea Factory for me is just they don't do it for me, except for this game Radical Elements, which I really enjoyed. Like it's the only Spectral Force game where I felt like I really got to play through this whole thing. And I've played 3 other Spectral Force games. I don't know why I kept buying them after I knew that it was going to be bad, but I lucked out because I got this one. The other ones kind of suck, though. Let's see. We've got... Oh, here's a game I've covered before on my channel. This is Rogue Heart Dungeons. This is a roguelike made by Compile Heart. And Compile Heart, as you guys know, is now like part of Idea Factory. It's so as much as I dislike Idea Factory, Compile Heart sometimes makes good games. And Compile used to make... before like Compile Heart became a company, when Compile went out of business. Compile did a bunch of stuff, and the guy who made this, who's part of Compile Heart, is actually like the dude who worked on some pretty old school stuff. I think he might be the guy who first ported the original Rogue to Japanese or something. It's like it's something like that. And this game is based on the original Rogue. It's just given graphics that are for the PS2. And it's a fun game. It's just a roguelike, but you know, and it's not like it doesn't have a lot of stuff going on. There's not like a huge story or anything. There's kind of like a minimal story, but there's, you know, like the town is a menu. You go into the dungeon, and you just go through it. And if you like roguelikes, you'll like it because it's a pretty good adaptation of Rogue into a kind of a PS2 game. And I have a video of this on my channel. That's like a half-hour video of me playing it. I think it's a good game. So next we've got Kagero 2 Dark Illusion. That's what it is. I don't know. Maybe this is maybe this one is the one that's trapped in the U.S. I think it's not a Kagero game, but maybe it has a different name. But it's probably trapped. It might be Deception something, but I think it's trapped. This game rules. I love these games. I love this series, and I feel like it's not as popular as it should be because it's kind of like a wacky murder puzzle. And I mean, obviously you're fighting people, but like it's like almost cartoony in its violence of how much like damage people take in this game and from the stupid traps that they run into. And like there, you know, it always feels good to string traps together and get people into like weird situations. Like obviously there's a new one in this series that came out on the Vita and the PS3, I think it also was on. So you know, if you don't want to hunt down the PS2 version, just get the Vita one, get the PS3 one. That series is good. Deception. Let's see. We've got Final Fantasy 12. I hate this game. This game basically killed Final Fantasy for me. I really did not like Final Fantasy 12. I never beat Final Fantasy 12. I stopped partway through and I was just like, I'm done. No longer playing this. And I played Revenant Wings and I liked that. Go figure. Let's see. Okay, this is oh yeah, this is Seigi no Mikata. It's kind of like a Tokusatsu game where you kind of make your own Tokusatsu hero, and you're kind of going through this story where you're like this kid. You're like a kid who lives with your parents or something, and you have to make you like maybe you ordered a suit or something, and then you like suddenly become a hero. But you're like, I know the beginning of the game has you doing all these weird situations where like you're walking around and your parents are asking you to do things, and like suddenly the bank will be robbed or something. You have like this opportunity to do stuff. It's a pretty good game. And I'm saying that right now, and I'm like having this feeling in the back of my head like I just described a totally different game to you. Like that's not the game it was. I don't whatever. Maybe that's it. Someone's gonna buy it and they're gonna be like, this game was totally not that. But I'm not gonna look. I'm just gonna continue on because it probably is that. Next we've got Uchu Keiji Damashi or Tamashi, I guess. This Space Sheriff Spirits, as it says, is the English name. But this is a Gyaban and I guess Charivan and Shider game. They're all three of them are on the box here. You've got Gyaban and Charivan and Shider. But if anybody knows Uchu Keiji Gyaban, it's like a kind of early 80s tokusatsu show that has I don't know, kind of like Star Wars-ish kind of. Like he has a lightsaber and shit. Like it's definitely influenced by Star Wars, but you know, it's like Kamen Riders in space or some shit. Except they're not in space. They're always on Earth, and then they go into these like kind of alternate dimensions and stuff. But you know, it's kind of like an arena battle game, I guess. I mean, you're mostly in like blocked off areas, and then you just fight waves of enemies, and then there'll be a boss. It's actually pretty fun, but you know, I wouldn't recommend it if you're not a Gyaban fan. I mean, it's not like super you know, exciting or anything for people who've never played it or aren't fans of Gyaban. Okay, next we've got the Tokusatsu Henshin Hero, which is kind of a fighting game where you like make your own kind of Tokusatsu heroes. If you look at the cover, like there's a bunch of generic versions of like real Tokusatsu things on there, but here's like a generic Gyaban since we've just talked about it. Like look at the comparison here. You've got Gyaban, the real Gyaban, and then like rip-off Gyaban, like generic dollar store version of Gyaban. There he is. There they are together. I mean, obviously I can't make them the same size, but you know, you look at these and you're like, oh yeah, I know what that's supposed to be. But this is a simple series game, and it was released in Europe, I think, as maybe the Power Fighters or some shit. It's not a very good game. I mean, I'm willing to admit that it's not a very good game. It's just part of my Tokusatsu game collection, and I figured I'd get it and see how it was. Next we've got. Wait, I'll skip the. Maybe I shouldn't skip those. These are like almost all Tokusatsu games now, because that's where I am in the pile. But whatever. This is Ultraman. This is regular old Ultraman. It's a fighting game, but this is the best Ultraman game. There's no Ultraman game better than this one. The battles are 3 minutes for obvious reasons if you know about Ultraman, but like it's done in. It's not like the like the previous ones, like the Super Nintendo one, where you have like bars and you have to kill them with your. You have to kill. I mean, you obviously have to kill them with the special move, but like it's done really well. It's pretty cinematic and it looks kind of like they wanted to make it like you were playing the TV show instead of like playing a game, and it really works. I don't know what it is about this one, but it's really good. I think like you can do lots of Ultramanish kind of moves, and it looks like an old TV show more so than playing a game, and I think that's all it needed to be good, and it works. They did it. Next we've got it's Ultraman Fighting Evolution 2. Let me check that. It's Fighting Evolution 2. This is a kind of Ultraman fighting game, so this one is actually a fighting game. Like you can select characters and fight against people in like the previous ones. This one it's not bad, but like it doesn't compare to the other Ultraman game, which is actually like a lot of fun. This one is just kind of like, it's an alright 3D fighting game. And I have a bunch of those actually, but like none of them are really that great. None of them are bad though. They're not horrible, but none of them are really great. Next we've got Viewtiful Joe. This game is awesome. Viewtiful Joe is such a good game, made by Platinum. I'm saying it's made by Platinum. It's made by Clover Studios, but like Clover, when they closed, became Platinum Studios. Whatever. But Viewtiful Joe, I wish they'd make more of these. I know they made that one on the DS was the last one, and that one's not bad either. I mean, I'm not dissing on the later games. Like I don't even mind the PSP one, that like party battle one that was on the GameCube, I think too. I like the characters in this. I like the kind of tone of it. It's goofy and fun, I think. All the bosses, the characters are wacky. The situations are ridiculous. It's just fun. It's just a really fun game. So, Viewtiful Joe here, you can't really go wrong with Viewtiful Joe. If you've never played it, definitely pick it up. But GameCube version is probably the better version, but whatever. Next, we've got Viewtiful Joe 2. So we've got, on the cover here, we've got Joe and his girlfriend, Sexy Sylvia. There's an anime for Viewtiful Joe, and I don't know if it ever was in English, but like when I first moved to Japan, and this is like 2005 or so, it was on TV, and like before I went to work every day or went to school every day, I was watching. I watched Viewtiful Joe. It just happened to be on before I had to go, so I'd be like eating breakfast and like watching Viewtiful Joe. So I have like good memories of that anime, even though it's not a very good show. I still like it because I have good memories of it. Next we've got this is Kamen Rider Blade. Kamen Rider Blade. This is like it's a fighting game. It's like if you've played any of the Climax Heroes games, it's kind of like a proto Climax Heroes. Came up before that series started, so it's not as in depth. There are not like the kind of challenge things and like arena stuff that you have to do in the Climax Heroes games. It's more of just like a one-on-one kind of fighter game, and there's like a bunch of those in this pile here, so I'll just go through them quick. You Kamen Rider Fies. This is one of my favorite Kamen Rider series, but it's not a particularly great game or anything. We've got this is Kamen Rider Hibiki. Now this one is the game itself is another one of those kind of fighting games. But there is a Taiko no Tatsujin Hibiki version in here. It's like an extra disc that has you like, there you go, Taiko no Tatsujin, but with Hibiki. It doesn't have a lot of songs, but like it's like a free extra game, so that's cool. I don't know. I thought that was kind of neat, but the game itself is still another one of these fighting games. Now we've got, this is Climax Heroes. This is the first Climax Heroes with Decade, or Decade, I guess if you're going to say it in English, but in the Japanese, Decade. And the Climax Heroes games are a fighting game, but they also do other things. It's not just a fighting game, and some of the, and it's different depending on the series. So like they change over the series, but sometimes like it's like basically a stage-based arena game. So you like go into a stage, and sometimes there's no boss. Like you go in and you fight, like you have like a challenge, like kill 10 dudes in this amount of time, or then or they'll be like, oh, fight these two guys for this amount of time without dying, or you know, beat this boss, that kind of thing. And it's less I don't know, tedious. It's got more replay value than the other ones, because it gives you more options and more things to do when you play the game. So yeah, this is, next thing we have here is Makai Tensei. This is not an SMT game. It's actually a simple series game that's kind of bad. It's not that good of a game, actually. I'm trying to remember what... Okay, let's see. It's kind of like a dungeon crawler that, I mean, it looks pretty poor, and you fight demons and things in it, but it's not like how do I explain it? It's like a kind of action-y RPG where you're, you know, like going through dungeons with samurai fighting demons. It's the idea of it is actually not that bad. But it's not like what you'd imagine it would be, considering the name. Next we've got Final Fantasy X twice. I got two Final Fantasy X's. Why? Because, and like none of them are like the regular version. We got like the Mega Hits version and the Ultimate Hits version. But the reason I have two is that, like, I bought this one first, this Mega Hits version, and I played that, and halfway through the game, like, the disc has no damage to it, but there was a point where it just froze and wouldn't continue. Like, every time I get to a point, the disc would freeze and make a weird noise, and, like, nothing. And there's no visible scratches, but, like, it didn't work. So I was like, oh, I gotta finish the game, so I went and bought this one, and it was fine. So I guess like I got beat. Next we've got, what do we got here? Okay, this is King of Fighter Maximum Impact, and this is Maximum Impact is a King of Fighters game, but it's one of the 3D ones. It's not so bad. I don't mind the Maximum Impact games. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as the 2D ones, but what can you do, right? They tried at least. And we've got Namco Cross Capcom. Namco Cross Capcom has all the same flaws as the other games in the series, Project Cross Zone, and I guess like even Namco Super Wars is gonna have the same issues. But you know, it starts out really strong. You start getting a lot of characters. It's fun, and then you get to the end, and it's like the battles are too long, and there's too many. There's no new characters, and you're not having fun anymore, and it's just like a grind. That's like Project Cross Zone is just like that. This game is just like that. There's no variety to the battles. They all have the same kind of basic setup too, and there's just too many of them. But in this one, unlike Project Cross Zone, you can get Mike Hagar to spinning pile driver a fucking Allosaurus. So this one wins. Next we've got Argus no Senshi, which is fucking Rygar. This is Rygar. Rygar, this series is really good. I really liked this game. I like this game a lot, and I love the Rygar series a lot, so like I like all those Rygar games. I you know what I wish was on this game, like the original NES Rygar, like as an emulation. I would have liked that. But this game by itself is a lot of fun, and I wish they'd make another one of these. I'd buy another Rygar game. Hell yeah, that would be good. Next we've got Kenka Bancho. This game is like too. It's kind of you know, too hard for me to play in Japanese, and I say that because like it's not that the Japanese is hard, it's that you have to be really fast. And like I'm just not. Like as fast as I can go, there's like a thing where you have to match up text and insults to and you have like seconds to do it. And like, you know, when Japanese is your second language, like you have three choices to choose between. You have to connect sentences without having any idea what's going to come next. And like the time it takes me to read the three, like I mean, like I have to choose pretty quickly. And then like you get to the second part and you're just like, what the fuck was that first part? Or like you're like, how does this connect? I don't even know. So it's the kind of thing where like I can't do the stare down parts. Like I just suck at those. So like I can't get far in this game because I can't do the stare downs well enough. Like the only way I was getting through it originally was like just memorizing, which sucks. So like, you know, it ends up being a not as fun game as it could have been, because I liked the idea of it and I liked what I played. It was just like I'd get to one of those stare down parts and I'd always lose because like the speed of it is too much for me. Next we've got Dekotora Densetsu. This is it's kind of a racing game. It's not really though. It's like an adventure game with racing tacked onto it, and the racing is awful because like it's slow, like you imagine, like you're racing big trucks, and it doesn't go very fast, and it feels cheap, and it is, and it's not even the race part isn't really that important. I think like it's just like a part of the story. So like, you know, you'll do the race and then you'll just go back into 15 minutes or 20 minutes of the story part where you're like talking to people and like getting dates with girls and stuff. It's that kind of, it's like an adventure game, but there's also trucks, and you do get to customize your truck, which is fun. Obviously it's a deco truck, so you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. So I don't know. I actually, this is a series. There's a bunch of these games on the PS1 and PS2. I enjoyed this game. I didn't play through it entirely, but what I did play, I enjoyed. Like the reason I didn't finish it is because I lost the memory card when I for that I was playing, and I didn't want to play through it again, so I never finished it. But I should go back to that game eventually. Next we've got Kamaitachi no Yoru 2, and this is a adventure game. You know, like your kind of visual novel, I guess. Kamaitachi no Yoru is one of the first visual novels. It might be the first. Maybe Otogiri So is before that. I don't remember. But Kamaitachi no Yoru is a really good series. I really like these games. And I think maybe there's one on the Vita even. It might be on the PS3, though. It might be on both. But basically, it's like a kind of a murder mystery kind of game, and there's multiple endings and multiple stories, and I thought that was really cool because like you could, depending on your choices, like you can end up in stories that have like nothing to do with anything else in the game, and you can get like kind of weird endings and things. It's cool. Next is another game I've talked about before, Space Fisherman. It's kind of a fishing game in space. I mean, it's called Space Fisherman, but like you go around and you like fly around space and you catch weird ass things, alien fish things. It's a pretty cool game. Next is the best Tales game, Tales of Rebirth. Tales of Rebirth, hands down my favorite Tales game. It's still got the kind of 2D battle system, which I enjoy, and I like all the characters. There's not any annoying characters, which tends to happen in Tales games a lot. It's also got, you know, pretty good story, a pretty good setup. I got like really invested in it really quickly, and I was doing like a live translation of this, but my videos got taken down by Namco. So yeah, Tales of Rebirth, it's a pretty good game. Let's see. Kingsfield. This is Kingsfield 4. I don't remember what the English subtitle for it is. Kingsfield something something. But Kingsfield is a really good series. It's made by FromSoftware. You can kind of know what to expect. It's going to be difficult. At least it's no exception for Kingsfield 4. Like, you can die and have to restart the game within the first like 15 seconds of the game. You can just like walk off a hole in the side of the thing and just die immediately. Kingsfield, it's not a very forgiving game, but once you get the hang of how to play it and how it works, like you can get through it. It's a pretty fun series. Basically, it's like the predecessor to Dark Souls. It's a similar in a lot of ways. Next, we've got The Nightmare of Druaga. This is a Druaga game that's also like a mystery dungeon game. So it ends up being a roguelike, sort of. It's like a light roguelike because you don't generally lose your stuff. I mean, you do, but not always lose all your stuff when you die. You don't usually lose levels either. So it's kind of a roguelike light. But as far as like sorry. As far as mystery dungeon games goes, this is one of my favorites. I really like this game. Maybe it's just because I really like Druaga. I don't know, but there it is. Next we've got Maken Show. This is a remake of Maken X that was on the Dreamcast to be a third-person game instead of a first-person game. I don't want to say I prefer the first-person one, but maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. I actually probably prefer this one to Maken X, but I've played Maken X more, so I don't know. They're both good though. I'd recommend playing them. If you can't get the one on Dreamcast or you don't have a Dreamcast for some reason, you sick person, then PS2 Maken Shell, you can go with that. Good game though. Let's see, we've got Persona 3 FES. Persona 3 is pretty awesome. I mean, I'd recommend playing Persona 3 immediately if you haven't. But yeah, this one is like, the game plus the extra story afterwards. I should play through this again. I don't remember playing FES. I mean, I remember playing it, but I don't remember it as well because I played Persona 3 Portable after playing Persona 3, and it doesn't have the FES content, so it's kind of like you have like some kind of memory loss after like 10 years of not playing. Next we've got Bearwick Saga. What the fuck is the subtitle for this? Lasberia Chronicle Chapter 174. This is like made by the same guy who did what's called the creator of damn it, Fire Emblem. I know it's on the shelf over there, but after he made that PlayStation 1 version, that they got it sued. Like, this game is a game sort of like Fire Emblem, but it's really different than Fire Emblem, unlike the other one. So like the way it plays is quite different. So it doesn't feel like the same kind of game in the series. So if you're like, ooh, and like another Fire Emblem game, it's not. It doesn't play that way, but it's still a good strategy RPG. I enjoyed this game, I think, more than most people do, but be warned that if you're expecting it to be another Fire Emblem direct copy, it's not gonna be. Next we've got Wild Arms 3. Wild Arms is a pretty good series, so Wild Arms 3, no exception. I think this is in English though, you can probably get it. Next we've got Michigan. Michigan is a horror game that's kind of wacky and weird. Like, you're not doing anything, you're just the cameraman. So like, you point at things with the camera to get other people to interact with things. You get points depending on like the stuff you record. So if you get like good scenes of like people dying, you get bonus points. You get scenes of like crazy violence, you get like And like if you get scenes of crazy violence and get an upskirt shot in the same time, you get extra bonus points. So like you get bonus points for being a perv while people are being murdered. That's how this game is. It's weird. It's a pretty good game though. I would recommend it. I think there's an English version of it too in Europe only. Next we've got Hungry Ghosts. Hungry Ghosts is it's kind of similar to Shadow Tower, the way that Shadow Tower plays, or I guess it's more. I guess it's more like that than it is like what's it called, Kingsfield. But it's it's a pretty good game, and it's a horror game. You basically are running through this weird kind of hellscape, fighting weird ghosts and monsters and things. And it works out pretty well. I actually quite enjoyed this game too. And there's a video of it. I have a review of it. It's like one of the first reviews I ever did on this channel. Next we got Gitaru Man. This is a rhythm game. I'm not very good at this game. It's a fun though. The music is good, but I'm just not incredibly good at doing it. I can't beat it. Next we've got the Rumblefish. The Rumblefish is a pretty damn good 2D fighter. It's made by, I think it's made by Dimps, who did Street Fighter 4. But it's not for Capcom, obviously, but it's made for Sega Sammy, or who are just Sega now, I guess. But yeah, the Rumblefish, it's pretty underrated for a fighter, I think. Check it out if you have the opportunity. Let's see, I should move some stuff over here so I can make another pile. Next we've got Guilty Gear X Plus. Guilty Gear game. You guys know what that is. It's a fighter. Next, this is Summon Fighter Extase. Extase, that's what it is. I bought this game because Summon Night is a action game, not an action game, a strategy game, and this ends up being an action game, and I wasn't like super happy with that. I wasn't paying attention when I got it. I was just like, oh, Summon Night, I should get that. I like that. I've played some of those before, and then it's not like Summon Night, so I was kind of disappointed. Next we've got another simple series game, the Daibijin. This is a game where like this woman wakes up and she's like 100 feet tall or something, and she has to like, basically you're fighting her. You're like the government trying to capture her. It's not that fun, but it's wacky enough to be interesting. But for me, I got to a helicopter part and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't control helicopters well enough to actually do the thing. So I get stuck there and I'm done. So I haven't gotten very far in that. Next is the Cat Fight. This is an all women fighting game. I didn't buy this. Someone gave this to me. They were like moving and they were just like, hey, I've got this game. You want it? I was like, well, it looks like garbage, but I'll get it. But it's an all girls bikini fighting game for the people amongst you who are interested in that kind of thing. Eat it up. Next we've got Samurai Western. That's what it is. Samurai Western. I think there's an English version of this game. Samurai in the Old West. You can't go wrong. It's kind of an alright game. It's not super good, but it's in the same the way of the Samurai series, except in the Old West with a samurai. It's good though. Next we've got Zettai Zetsume Toshi. This is fucking, well, I don't know the name in English. It's like Danger Report, maybe. Raw Danger. One of those. It's one of those because there's the second one is also has a different name. But in Japanese, they're all like Zettai Zetsume Toshi and Zettai Zetsume Toshi 2. But this is, like a, I think this one is the earthquake, right? There's an earthquake, and it's basically like a survival game in the earthquake. The city is falling apart, and you have to survive. Good series. That's coming back soon too, so buy that when it comes up, when part 4 comes out. Next we've got a bit more FromSoftware games. We've got Shadow Tower Abyss. This game rules. It's a pretty good game. Shadow Tower series. I was really when they were showing the things for Bloodborne. I thought like, man, it's gonna be another Shadow Tower. I'm hyped, but it ended up being Bloodborne, which is fine. But I wish there was more Shadow Tower. It's got guns. It's got like you can see on the back here, there's a pistol. He's shooting a pistol at a monster. That's awesome. Next we've got Evergrace. Evergrace is another FromSoftware RPG. It's surprisingly, it's not dark. It's like all bright and colorful, and the characters are all like, you know, colorful and not soul-sucking monsters. And we've got Evergrace 2 also. These are both FromSoftware RPGs, though. I don't know that Evergrace is I would recommend it, but you know, if you're really interested, hard up for some kind of RPG, it's not that bad. Next, we've got Eternal Ring. This is more up the alley of the kind of in between something like Evergrace and I guess like Shadow Tower. You've got something like Eternal Ring, and this was like a launch game. I think it's not exactly a graphics intensive game. It's a launch game. You know what to expect. We've got Toroto Kyujutsu, which is kind of like a hanging out with that white cat Toto. That's kind of it. It's not exactly like a thought intensive game. You're just kind of like going around to places and Toto talks to you, and it's almost like a pet simulator, if anything. But Toto is kind of, you know, like your cute cat buddy who hangs out. That's it. Next, we've got the Chikyu Boegun Tactics, which is Earth Defense Force Tactics. This is a pretty fun game. It is another simple series game like all the Earth Defense Force games. Not all of them now, but all of them on the PS2. Except instead of being an action game where you shoot giant bugs, it's a strategy game where you do, you know, strategically fight giant bugs on a grid, or I think it might be hex based actually. Yeah, it's hex based. Hex based strategy game. I was talking about that earlier. You should play more. This one I would recommend it. I think it came out in Europe as Earth Defense Force Tactics, but good stuff. I'm trying to rush through these because I think I'm going to run out of space on my phone right at the end, and I don't want to make a second video that's like 10 minutes. Next, we've got PC Genjin. This is Bonk's Adventure on the PS2. It's kind of like Konami was doing this thing where they were remaking old games with new graphics on the PS2, and I think this is less like it's a remake, but it's got extra stuff in there too, and it actually looks pretty good. I don't know why they didn't do more of these games. But there are, obviously there's new kind of meat transformations in this and stuff. It's not exactly the same game, but it's got elements of the first game. Like it's kind of a remake with extended stuff. It's worth playing. This series is Bonk's Adventure on the PS2. Next we've got Black Matrix 2. This is a strategy RPG. Good stuff. Black Matrix is a really kind of interesting game, and I learned about it originally from Playongo. Like I had never heard of it, and then I was like showing Dreamcast games, and this was years ago, and I was like, oh wow, I need that. So I played it there, and I thought, oh, well, I should get the other games in this series because it's cool. Now I have all of them. So Black Matrix 2. I'm almost done here. Just a couple more, so hopefully I'll not run out of battery, which is this message that just popped up. But I hope I also don't run out of space. Next, we've got SMT3 Nocturne. Great game. I'd recommend playing this if you have the option. It's super fun, super good. I think I should play this again. Even though I handily destroyed this game. It's not, despite what people say, it's not that hard. Just learn how to fuse demons and you'll be fine. That's it. Just know your skills. And once you know your skills, I'll tell you, if you have Frog Breath and Warcry and, Pierce later on, you're fine. you're done. You've basically done all the stuff you need to do. Next, we've got Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2. These are maybe my favorite games on the PS2. These two series. Digital Devil Saga is great. It's got an awesome story. It's got awesome characters. And then Digital Devil Saga 2 is the continuation, but it also has like the coolest opening movie ever. I love the opening movie for Digital Devil Saga. It's just such a cool scene. It's whoever thought of it. Thumbs up to you. This is Raido, Kuzunoha Raido versus the Choryoku Heitai, kind of, which is like Raido Kuzunoha versus the I don't know what it is, some kind of army. I don't know what the English name is, but this is the first Devil Survivor game, like when they made it into like a 3D action RPG on the PS2. Man, this game has potential, but it doesn't end up meeting it. I wasn't a huge fan of the Devil Survivor game on PS2. I have the second one, like I said, over there, and that one's better, but again, like, it's probably my least favorite series in the SMT. Well, I mean, besides like Devil Children and stuff, because Devil Children is still pretty low. Next, we've got Dragon Dragoon, and this is Dragon Dragoon is what is the English name? It's not whatever. It's Nier. It's whatever Nier was from. What the hell is the English name for Dragon Dragoon? It's I don't remember. You guys know what it is, though. There was recently one on the PS3, and Nier is a continuation of it, and it's kind of like a, this is a fucked up story. All the characters are fucked up. Your character is fucked up. Everything is fucked up in this game. It's totally worth playing just for the story, even though like it's kind of tedious at points. And one of the endings of this game goes directly into Nier. So next we've got this is Wizardry Alternative Bushin, which is one of the Atlas games that Wizardry, one of the two Wizardry games made by Atlas for the PS2. This one is actually pretty fun. I would recommend this game. I think it came out in English as something else. I don't remember the name, but look for Atlas and Wizardry and you'll know what it is. I really liked this game. I really like Wizardry, and I really like the direction they took it. It's not like a traditional Wizardry game, obviously. You can see enemies on the map and stuff, but when you're walking instead of being random encounters and stuff like that, but it still works out. It's fun. And we've got 2 games left. This is Wagagyu Omyo, which is like the Pride of the Dragon piece is what the name is, but this is made by people who made one of my favorite RPGs on the Sega Saturn, which is Linda Cubed. And it's kind of a dragon raising simulator / RPG, but it's really fun. The dragon raising is really addictive, and the story is interesting, and like it's just like a really underrated game. I think nobody talks about it, but it's kind of I don't think there's an English thing for it, but it's like way under the radar of everyone. And the last game before my time runs out is Nebula Echo Knight, which is Echo Knight Beyond, maybe in English, but it's like Echo Knight in space. And Echo Knight is a FromSoftware kind of horror game where I don't think you have weapons in this game. Maybe that's the first one. I don't remember, but I think this one doesn't have any weapons. I think you just have to like scare ghosts away with light, and like it's mostly like you're doing puzzles and running and stuff. But that's my Japanese PS2 collection. I think I'm gonna run out of time, so I'm gonna end this video here. But that was it. That was like pretty much all my PS2 games. I feel like I'm missing stuff because I know I have more somewhere, but they're not on the shelf. So unless they're behind something else, which is a possibility, but I feel like I was missing a few things. But if I find those things, I'll let you guys know, I guess. Like, I mean, I know I'm missing stuff because I didn't have Persona 4, and I didn't have like some sequels that I know I have. But whatever, it's not important. I'm missing some stuff. Either it's in a box somewhere, or it's lost, or whatever. But that's what I had on my shelf that I could pull off. So I know I was missing stuff. But whatever, not important. I will catch you guys in the next video sometime. I mean, you'll be seeing this later than all at the same time, but I'm shooting these all on the same day, and it's like so tired of talking now. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.